has it ripped away by Grant. Lindsey Hunter with a steal, and he lays it in.
Nice hustle, Lindsey Hunter.
Joe with the jump catch. Lindsey Hunter topside, knocks down the triple.
You've probably heard of those NBA players who define what it means to be a professional. You know the type. They might not always be the biggest stars, but they're the ones coaches love, teammates respect, and fans remember for their heart and hustle. Lindsey Hunter was exactly that kind of player, and his journey from a small HBCU in Mississippi to becoming a two-time NBA champion is one of the most inspiring stories in basketball. Lindsey Hunter grew up in Mississippi, and he chose to stay close to home when it came time for college, committing to Jackson State University in 1990. From 1990 to 1993, Hunter honed his craft at Jackson State, developing the work ethic and determination that would become his trademark. Playing for an HBCU, he didn't have the national spotlight that many of his future NBA peers enjoyed, but what he lacked in exposure, he made up for in pure determination. This was where Hunter learned to play with a chip on his shoulder, a trait that would serve him well throughout his professional career. The coaching staff at Jackson State recognized something special in Hunter. He wasn't just a talented player. He was a student of the game who understood that basketball success came from more than just natural ability. His 3 years there were spent developing not just his shooting, stroke, and ball handling skills, but also the mental toughness that would define his professional career. When the 1993 NBA draft rolled around, Hunter's hard work paid off in a big way. The Detroit Pistons selected him as the 10th overall pick, making him one of the highest drafted players ever from an HBCU. But this wasn't just any draft pick. This was the start of what would become a legendary relationship between Hunter and the city of Detroit. Walking into the Palace of Auburn Hills for the first time as a rookie, Hunter found himself in a unique situation. The Pistons were in a transition period, moving past the bad boys era of the late 1980s and early 1990s. This gave Hunter the perfect opportunity to establish himself as a key contributor right away. His first 7 seasons in Detroit were formative in every sense of the word. Hunter wasn't just playing basketball. He was learning what it meant to be a professional, how to handle the ups and downs of an 82-game season, and most importantly, how to make his teammates better. He became known for his tenacious defense, his ability to make clutch shots, and his willingness to take on whatever role the team needed. During this period, Hunter developed a reputation as one of the most reliable backup guards in the league. When the starter needed a break or was in foul trouble, coaches could count on Hunter to come in and not just maintain the team's momentum, but often improve it. His energy was infectious, and his work ethic was legendary within the organization. After 7 seasons in Detroit, Hunter found himself in Milwaukee with the Bucks for the 2000 to 2001 season. This was one of those classic, prove-yourself moments that many players face in their careers. Sometimes a change of scenery is exactly what a player needs, and other times it's just a stepping stone to something bigger. For Hunter, Milwaukee represented a chance to show that he could be more than just a solid role player. He embraced the opportunity to take on a bigger role with the Bucks, but even then, it felt like he was destined for something more. The year in Milwaukee was solid, but it wasn't the kind of season that defines a career. It was the kind of season that prepares you for greatness. If there's one thing that defined Hunter's career, it was his ability to find himself in the right place at the right time. When the Los Angeles Lakers acquired him for the 2001 to 2002 season, they were getting more than just a veteran guard. They were getting a player who understood what it took to contribute to a championship team. Playing alongside Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, Hunter found himself in the middle of one of the most dominant teams in NBA history. But here's what made Hunter special. He didn't try to be something he wasn't. He didn't try to compete with Kobe for shots or with Shaq for attention. Instead, he did what he had always done. He played his role to perfection. Hunter was a contributor on the Lakers team that won the NBA championship. This wasn't just any championship. This was the completion of a three-peat, one of the most difficult accomplishments in modern sports. Hunter's defensive intensity and clutch shooting in key moments made him an invaluable piece of that championship puzzle. Getting that first championship ring was a validation of everything Hunter had worked for. Here was a player who had stayed true to his roots, who had never forgotten where he came from, and who had finally reached the pinnacle of professional basketball. After winning his first championship, Hunter found himself traded to the Toronto Raptors, a move that, on paper, seemed like a step backward. But if you knew Hunter, you knew that he never saw any situation as a setback, only as an opportunity to prove himself all over again. The 2002 to 2003 season in Toronto was about more than just basketball for Hunter. It was about proving that his success with the Lakers wasn't just about being on a talented team. It was about his own skill and professionalism. He brought a championship mentality to a young Raptors team that was still trying to establish itself as a contender. His one season in Toronto was solid, but more importantly, it reminded everyone around the league that Hunter was the kind of player who could adapt to any situation, any system, and any team. He was a basketball professional in the truest sense of the word. Sometimes in sports, the best stories are about coming home. When Hunter returned to Detroit in 2003, it wasn't just a homecoming. It was a chance to complete one of the most unlikely championship runs in NBA history. The mid-2000s Pistons were special. They weren't the most talented team, they didn't have the biggest stars, but they had something that was arguably more important. They had heart, they had chemistry, and they had players like Lindsey Hunter who understood what it meant to play for something bigger than themselves. The 2003 to 2004 season was magical for Detroit. They were facing the star-studded Lakers in the finals, the same team that had won the championship just 2 years earlier with Kobe and Shaq. On paper, it looked like a mismatch, But basketball isn't played on paper, and the Pistons had something special. Hunter was a pivotal part of two championship teams. The Lakers in 2002 alongside Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, and the 2004 Pistons team that pulled off one of the biggest upsets in NBA history by defeating the star-studded Lakers in a 5-game final series. This second championship was different from the first. With the Lakers, Hunter had been a contributor to a dynasty. With the Pistons, he was part of a team that embodied everything he had learned about basketball over his career: hard work, team chemistry, and the belief that anything is possible if you're willing to work for it. The 2004 championship was particularly sweet for Hunter because it represented the ultimate validation of his journey. Here was a player who had never been the biggest star, who had never received the most attention, but who had consistently been one of the most valuable players on every team he played for. This championship was proof that basketball success isn't just about individual talent. It's about understanding your role and playing it to perfection. After his second championship with Detroit, Hunter found himself in Chicago for the final chapter of his playing career. He concluded his playing career for the Chicago Bulls from 2008 to 2010. By this time, Hunter had established himself as one of the most respected veterans in the league. Young players would seek him out for advice, coaches trusted him with crucial minutes in important games, and fans appreciated his professionalism and consistency. During his time in Chicago, Hunter became something of a mentor figure. He had been through every possible situation in the NBA, from being a rookie trying to prove himself to being a veteran on championship teams. His experience was invaluable to a Bulls team that was trying to build something special. When you look at Lindsey Hunter's career statistics, they tell the story of a solid, consistent player. Lindsey Hunter played 17 seasons for 5 teams, including the Pistons and Bulls. He averaged 8.5 points, 2.7 assists, and 2.2 rebounds in 937 regular season games. He won 2 NBA championships. But statistics only tell part of the story. The real story of Lindsey Hunter is about professionalism, consistency, and the ability to make everyone around him better. He was the kind of player who made coaches sleep better at night because they knew they could count on him in any situation. Think about it. In a 17-year career, Hunter played for 5 different teams, but everywhere he went, he was valued. That's not a coincidence. That's the mark of someone who understood not just how to play basketball, but how to be a professional basketball player. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and stay safe.